Yo, 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 yo! Yo! Oh, I'm so happy to finally see a normal bass video. Yo, you guys are gonna start seeing some normal videos from tomorrow, but today is the last day of the week podcast, so I thought I would cut some potatoes together with you guys and prepare a nice meal, you know, for me, for my girl, and finally for you guys watching out back there in your homes, little sweet family homes. And it is that I'm asking you now, what it is you guys find yourself fond of that you've never agreed to acknowledge to yourself. What it is that you've been hiding in the depths of your own subconscious, so that one day somebody might ask you or tell you that he has this kind of desire hidden in some subconscious, and you too have as well, because you have finally found someone that is like you but did not and was not afraid to show it. So on that note, I hope the cat doesn't commit suicide. On that note, it is me that brings up from the very first things, from the very depths of hell, what does acknowledging things do to one person? What does acknowledging things about oneself do to a magician? What I like to do whenever I perform magic is start talking about my sexual habits to the performer. Yeah, I'm in Eastern Europe. I can fucking do that. Don't worry, I don't do it here though. I do it wherever I go where I can talk in English, because it's very weird for me to talk about sexual things in Romanian. I didn't swear in my own language until I was like 19 or 20. I just hated swearing. It just doesn't sound so... I love swearing in English. I feel so casual doing it. I remember I went and I was with Zach in America, and I kept saying fuck so much, and Zach was like, dude, you gotta stop swearing, it's not nice here. So what does it do to a magician to acknowledge things about himself in front of the spectator? For me, it has always been the fact that I would like to eliminate the bubble in which the spectator is as fast as possible, in a way in which it doesn't necessarily make him feel awkward, but it does. Just slightly enough to pull him out of the bubble and create a new bubble in which I create an environment that says, hey, here it's okay. I am nobody. You're just gonna see me now and then you're gonna go. You can talk these kinds of stuff with me. I am somebody. You can entrust your life secret, because I'm gonna go after this. Because this is it. It's just me and you now, and then it's us forever apart, or until we see each other again. But so I start off by asking the spectator. So guys, which hand are you, left-handed or right-handed? Or wait, which hand do you easily masturbate with? And I've gotten mixed reactions on this, and it usually just is like, most of the guys just casually reply like, right hand, you know. And I just love how this brotherhood is formed between us, that yeah, whatever, I don't fucking care about, yeah, obviously I jerk off, yeah, there's nothing to hide about it. So how is it you embrace somebody you hate? What do you mean? So let's say you're in a situation in which you gotta show love towards a person you hate. How is it you're gonna show that person love? You know, and the magician creates a situation in which the spectator wants to see magic, but apparently he first needs to answer this question before he can finally get to the magic, because this question is apparently gonna be used inside the magic performance. So it puts you as a magician in such a situation in which you can help the spectator without even realizing. You can ask questions about himself or about herself that he doesn't have time or has not even thought about asking himself. But because you're there and you're a magician, and magicians used to be people that knew, artists that knew everything from astrology to alchemy to physics to mathematics, and you can just ask any question and it's just not off place, as long as you don't say, so which sexual position do you prefer? Well, if it's a younger audience, that might work, but not with adults. So, what I'm saying is, and what you guys should remember from my fucking gibberish, is realize that you can ask spectators questions, and questions that, let's say, for example, I'm going to give you like 4 questions. If you would stay in a room with 2 clones of yourself at 2 different ages, what ages would those clones have? And what kind of project would you do with them if you had 3 days at your disposal? And then you create a pattern around this idea, because the question itself is not a question anymore as much as it is an idea itself. And the spectator is put in a position which is like, oh wow, I have 2 clones of myself, maybe a younger one and an older one. So what ages would I like to work with? Oh, I'd like to work with myself when I was 9 because or I've gotten questions like answers like, I'd like to work with myself when I'm 50 because I'm curious how I'm going to be then. And here's another question. Let's say instead of hair on your body, you could grow anything else. What would you like to grow on your body instead of hair? And imagine if the person says eyes, you would just have a population of people that, or just this one person that has a bunch of eyes, and he can take these eyes and just give them to friends, and he would be able to see what those friends are doing through those little eyes. He would basically be able to switch his view, and bam, there you have an idea. And you could be speaking to people that are artists or people that are just fond of ideas, and when they hear you put these kinds of questions, they instantly realize that you're not a trickster. You're not somebody that is there to just fool their eyes. You're somebody that is there to mystify their mind, to play around with words and ideas, to give them ideas, to put them in situations. What the fuck? Boom. So, because you're probably going to find yourself having to deal with different kinds of spectators, not only normal people, but people that are gifted, that are talented, because you are talented and you attract people like yourself. So, creating these situations, these kind of questions. Look, I'm going to give you, I said 4, okay? So, I'm going to give you a few more. So, next question. You have a tree that can grow anything. What would you like for this tree to grow? And you wait, and you give the person an example. Look, somebody told me plane tickets. Okay, for example. And then I ask the question, okay, so if a normal tree needs water to grow, then this plane ticket tree would need what? Bus ticket, would need what? Like ink, and then the person replies. And then you say, okay, but this tree is not big from the beginning, it's small. So when it's small, it's gonna grow bus tickets, and it's gonna grow train tickets, until it can finally give airplane tickets. But this tree doesn't know who you are. You know, it's just gonna grow like what? Random tickets for random people. So what would you do with these tickets? And somebody told me this question is very transparent with the tree, that basically what you're asking them is a question that would basically reflect what they would want from life. But look, I responded bread. I would just love to have bread grow in a tree so I don't have to pay for bread anymore in my life. And there's a question like, it's not necessarily the purpose of the questions are not the answers. That's something you have to remember. The purpose of the questions is having fun, is playing around. Basically, you're putting the adult, if you're performing for adults and not for teenagers, you're putting the individual in a situation of play. You can even tell them, look, I'm not looking for the answers. we're gonna use this for the magic show. Or I'm gonna use this for the pattern, but this is not a question that I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I never say this though. If you feel like you need to say this, do it. I've never been put in a I've only been put in a situation once where somebody said, "Oh, I'm not gonna reply to this because you're trying to see my inner thoughts," and I was like, "Okay, wow, no, I never thought about that." And next question. Let's see. Yeah, okay. If you would be a teacher inside of people's imagination, what would you teach? So if, like, your classes, you'd be a teacher, but your classes would take place in people's imagination. So when they would go to sleep, wow, it was so difficult cutting these potatoes. When they would go to sleep, that's when your class would start. So you'd basically be like, okay, Tom, is Tom here? Okay. Is Carol here? Okay. Is Biz here? Biz is not here. Ah, fuck, he hasn't been to sleep yet. So you see, even this question itself just created you a world in its entire self. You don't necessarily just have a question, but think about it. What would you like to teach if you would teach in people's imagination? And then when you find an answer, think about how would you teach that? And then go even further. How would you motivate people to go to sleep earlier? Or what is detention? Not letting somebody wake up, and so on and so forth. Think about that. Another question. I said 4, but fuck it. Another question. If you could come anything else besides come, what would you like to come? You know the commercial with Skittles? Yeah, that's where this is. This is from the guy that came Skittles. So think about that. Or there was this world I created together with a friend where the vices or the obsessions that you have, or the talents or the passions that you have, end up changing your genitalia. So for example, we're all born in this world with penises and vaginas and boobs and everything. But once you develop a passion for something, for example magic, your genitalia starts to change depending on the passion. So your penis would start changing into a deck of cards, or into one hand, or into 2 hands, or into fingers, or into a spinner, or in, I don't know what, or into hands with cards. So the question would be, if you could choose what your penis could be except a penis, or what your vagina could be except for a vagina, what would you like to have? And once you have an answer for that, think about it for a bit. Think about it for a bit. Once you have an answer for that, think, what is your partner gonna have? For example, if I choose to have a deck of cards as a penis, then I'm gonna need somebody that has hands, that has a card case as a vagina, that has fanning powder as a vagina, or that has what else? A mat or a table on which I can spread my deck. So think about that. What would you have, and then what would your partner have? And then you can take it a step further and think, what would ejaculation be? How would it look when it's erected? How would it look when it's not? So, yeah, you got it. Next question, another question. I'm going to give you another question, motherfuckers. Let's see. I have this little game I like to play with some friends, is talking in a language you've always been talking in, but that is completely made up. For example, you would form words that sound like words in sentences that sound like sentences, but you're not saying anything. For example, din gazu atsepef dubai achikime to sakaramatefo bo epikime to asike pupu pupu punta pera pokotesa. So I'm just like talking with nothing in my mind. And you could ask your spectator, if you would tell me, for example, I would like for you to perform this trick, I would like for you to change all my money into bigger money, or choose something that would interest him, and tell him to say it in a made-up language, and tell him to go slow, like, Domada zinga devomo ramba de wala la boalabe, or something like that. Sounds a lot like very African languages, I think, or Asian, or I don't even know. I don't even know. So you can try that game, and then what you can try and do, what I ended up doing was, I actually think of a sentence. For example, I am eating apples, and then I try and somehow portray this through this made up language. G popobare zegge. You know, like I am eating apples. Zegge, apples. Popobare is eating. I don't know why, but still, I kind of gave it some thought beforehand. So there you go. There's a small game, magic game for you guys. Here's another small magic game. You get a word, for example, captain, and then you draw a line down, and you have cap. So you draw a cap from captain. You draw a cap, and then you have tan. So you draw a tan cap, and you have cap tan. And then you have I. So I am a tanned cap. And then you draw this, and from that you have I, tan, and cap. And that cap, once it's tan, can also be called a hat. So you transform the... Oh shit, this is so complicated to explain if I don't actually draw it. This game is for another time. Basically, it's an imagination thing where you just keep on going, and it's a perpetuum mobile where you just keep transforming the words into something else, into something else, into something else, and you use what one is transformed into. For example, if it's a gift, transform it into a dar, which is something in Romanian, and then that word itself can mean something else in French, so you can transform it into that word, and then you change it into an image, and you take something from the image. For example, if it's people, you draw a person. You draw a person, and then you just select the arm and you break it, so then you have arm, and then you keep on going like that. Let's change the location now. Okay, no, I gotta watch this. Okay. Next question. Oh, I got another potato there. If you could feed, if you could breathe something else rather than air, if you would need something else rather than air to survive, what would you feed off? That's something you gotta think. And what me and a friend, me and a girl actually that I met at a club, I asked her this question, and now let's move. I'm gonna move first. Oh no. I asked her this question, and she said pictures, images. She would feed from images. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, I don't know, but this is my answer. Like, I would like to feed from images. And I thought about it for a bit. How would it be breathing images? How would that be breathing images? And I ultimately arrived at the idea that breathing images basically means transforming what you're seeing, a colored image, into black and white, and then ultimately transforming that black and white image into nothing, into blackness, completely, like no image at all. So the more you breathe an image, the more it disappears. And you're put in a situation in which if you fall in love with somebody, you truly can't look at that person for long, because if you do, you're gonna end up in a situation in which you don't see her anymore or see him anymore. Isn't that a fucking beautiful idea? So that's basically what her and my answer was. You know, breathing images. Well, what would you guys like to breathe instead of air? And then take it from there and evolve it. You know, like I did with the tree. And like we did with let's see, veggies. There we go. Like we did with the tree, and like we did with the genitalia thing. And there you go, guys. That was the last. Yeah. For this hour, there was no winner. Like there was no. Usually, I make it a video where the time just fits, so somebody can submit their video. But this time, it didn't work like that because it's a podcast, and I couldn't actually foresee how long these would be. But if you should remember something from whatever I said is questions, creative questions, which put you in a situation in which you actually go about creating worlds and sketches and movies, which you can use for your patterns and which you can share with people through your performances. Yeah, there you go. Fucking love you guys.